Welcome to my videos. Um, the- in this session, we are going to explain. I will discuss about the index transducers and that too inductive transducers. Right. The main objective of this video is construction and working principle of the inductive transducers and its advantages and disadvantages, and the construction and working of the LVDT, advantages and disadvantages of LVDT, and the applications of LVDT. See, before entering into this, in the previous session, I discussed about transducers and types of transducers. Transducer means it is a device. It converts one form of signal into the another form of signal. Mainly, the output is in electrical signal. Right here, the input may be either mechanical displacements or physical parameters, whatever it may be. It converts that into the electrical signals. And these transducers, based on the output, these are classified into two types: passive transducers and active transducers. Again, in passive transducers are classified into resistive transducers, capacitive and inductive transducers. So in my previous sessions, I discussed about this resistive transducers and the capacitive transducers. In the resistive transducers, working of the strain gauge, again strain gauge, it is classified into wide strain gauge and foil type strain gauge, semiconductor strain gauge. For all these strain gauges, I explained about the construction and working principle, its advantages and disadvantages of each strain gauge, and also about the potentiometric transducers. And potentiometric transducer, it is a transducer. In this, the resistance will be varied based on the displacement. The output is the output is proportional to the displacement. And the next one is the capacitive transducer. Here, capacitive transducer, we know the principle of the capacitive transducer. Right, based on that, if the distance or the area will be distance area of the plate or distance between the plates will be varied, means the capacitance will be varied. Based on that principle, this capacitive transducers are output will be varies. Now we will discuss about the inductive transducer. Right, inductive transducer. Here it is also a passive transducer like resistive and capacitive transducers. It is used for the measurement of displacement. Inductive transducers are passive transducers mainly used for measurement of displacement and uses change in inductance in a single coil. Uses change in inductance ratio of a pair of coil. That means this inductive transducer uses change in inductance in a single coil, or also it can be used to change in inductance ratio of a pair of coils, single coil and dual coils, that is pair of coils. Right, what is the principle of this inductive transducer means? Here we know that inductance of a coil L is equals to mu into n square A by L, A by L, right? L is the inductance of the coil and mu is the permeability of the core material, and N is the number of turns of the coil, A is the area of the core, and L is the length of the coil. Length of the coil. That means the inductance of a coil here depends on the directly proportional to the permittivity of the core and the number of turns of the coil as well as the area of the core, and this inductance of a coil is inversely proportional to the length of the coil by L. That means if any one of the parameters are varying, either it may be permeability or number of turns or area of the core or the length of the coil. If any one of the parameter is varying, means the inductance of a coil will be varied. This is the based on this the inductive transducers will be operated. See, in the single coil type inductive transducers, this inductive transducers, single coil and pair of coils. So now we will discuss about the single coil type inductive transducer. See, so that means there is only one coil. One coil. This coil is wounded on a core. This core is a fixed part. fixed spot single coil. That means only one coil is there, that is wounded on a fixed part. And there is a movable armature core. The movable armature core, based on the applied force, this movable armature core will be moved, and in between the core and the movable armature core, there will be a air gap. There will be a air gap, right? By varying this air gap varies means the reluctance also varies. When the reluctance is varied means the inductance is also varies. That is the principle for single coil type inductive transducer. See, this is the inductive displacement sensor, air gap, the same construction what we just now see. Right, here is a coil wounded on the core. This is a movable core. This is the induced flux. Induced flux. This basic inductive sensor consists of a magnetic circuit made from a ferromagnetic core with a coil wound on it. This is a core, a ferromagnetic core, a coil wounded on it. Right. This is the flux. Inductive displacement sensors. The coil acts as a source of magnetomotive force that drives the flux through the magnetic circuit and the air gap. Whatever we have seen, coil, this coil, this coil acts as a source of magnetomotive force. This force drives the flux through the magnetic circuit and the air gap. The presence of the air gap causes a large increase in the circuit reluctance. This air gap increases the circuit reluctance and corresponding decrease in the flux. This air gap increasing the reluctance and decreases the flux. That means a small variation in the air gap results in a measurable change in the inductance. If there is a change in the air gap means there is a change in the inductance of a coil. This is the principle of inductive displacement sensors. Single coil linear variable reluctance sensor. See, there is a single coil. There is a fixed one. This is a fixed core. This is the this is the movable core and this is the fixed core, and the coil is wounded on this. And this D is the air gap between the two cores. Permeability mu A and mu C. See, here the reluctance of the coil is dependent on the single variable. The reluctance is depending on the single variable. This reluctance increases non-linearly with the increasing gap. The reluctance is here depending on the air gap. How it is related means this reluctance is increasing non-linearly with the increasing gap. This air gap is increasing means this reluctance is increasing. Reluctance is varying means obviously the inductance of the coil also varies. So this is directly proportional to the reluctance is directly proportional to the air gap. Next one is a double coil type inductive transducer. Double coil type inductive transducer. Right? That means double coil is indicating it has two coils. See, two coils wounded on the two cores, ferromagnetic cores. This is one and this is the one. And there is a movable core that is called armature placed in between the two coils. This movable core is placed between the two coils, that is armature, and there is an air gap between the armature and the two coils. This is the construction of the double coil type inductive transducer. It has two coils and there will be a movable armature placed between these two coils. Variable differential reluctance sensor. The same thing what just now saying, coil 1 and coil 2, and this is the distance between these two coils. Suppose for there is a movable armature means the distance here is D and D, so the total distance between the two coils is 2D reluctance. A variable differential reluctance sensor. It consists of an armature moving between two identical cores separated by a fixed distance. The distance between the two coils is separated by it consists of a armature moving between two identical cores. The armature moves in the air gap in response to a mechanical input. Based on the applied input, the armature moves in the air gap. With that, the distance between the two coils will be varies. This movement alters the reluctance of coils 1 and 2. Well, this armature is moving based on the applied input. That means based on the armature movement in the air gap, there will be a changes in the reluctances of coils 1 and 2. And there is a change in the reluctance means obviously there is a change in the inductance. See here in single coil type, this reluctance is non-linearly varying with the air gap. Increasing the reluctance increases non-linearly with the increased air gap. That is the drawback of single coil reluctance, single coil type. This is overcome when this variable differential reluctance sensor, that means in the two coils, dual coil type, that means there will be a this arrangement overcomes the problem of non-linearity inherent in single coil sensors. This variable differential reluctance sensor overcomes the problem of non-linearity inherent problem in the single coil sensors. This is the advantage of this variable differential reluctance sensor. What is the working principle means? Here the armature does not have any physical contact with the core. It is a movable one. The applied mechanical input will be attached to this armature. But it is there will be no physical contact with the core. Armature is displayed by force or pressure. That means based on the applied input. That may be either force or pressure. Then air gap is varied whenever the armature is moving between based on the applied force or pressure means the air gap will be varied. When the air gap is varying means the reluctance of the magnetic circuit also varies. We know that the reluctance is directly proportional to the size of the air gap. That means inductance, reluctance increases with the increased air gap. The relation between this reluctance and the air gap is directly proportional to the size of air gap. Air gap is increasing means reluctance is increases. What is the reluctance means? It is the property of a material which opposes the creation of magnetic flux in it. The units for reluctance is AT by Webers. Reluctance S is equals to L by mu A. L by mu A. What is mu here? This mu is the permeability, mu naught into mu R. Inductance is equals to mu into n square A by L. That means this inductance is equals to n square. That means number of turns in the coil by reluctance. That means the inductance, the self-inductance is inversely proportional to the reluctance. The relation between the inductance and reluctance is inversely proportional to the self-inductance. That means reluctance is directly proportional to the air gap. That means so therefore the inductance L is inversely proportional to the size of the air gap. See, with this formula, we can say that inductance is inversely proportional to the reluctance. And we know that reluctance is directly proportional to the air gap. That means we can say that the self-inductance is inversely proportional to the size of the air gap. Size of the air gap. What are the advantages of this inductive transducer means? This two coil, the output varies linearly with the displacement. That means the variation in the output is linear. The change in inductance is proportional to the displacement. And it responds to static and dynamic measurements. It has continuous resolution and it has fairly high output. These are the advantages of two coil sensors, inductive type. What are the disadvantages? Means the frequency response is limited by the construction of the four summing member. The disadvantage of this inductive transducer is the frequency response is limited by the construction of the four summing member. External magnetic fields may cause erratic performance. Due to the external magnetic fields, the performance of the device will be changes. May cause erratic performance. These are the disadvantages of this inductive transducer. And what are the applications of it? Means it is mainly used in telemetry system and used for measurement of pressure, displacement, vibrations, and position. And the next one is the linear variable differential transformer, LVDT. Linear variable differential transformer. It is a passive inductive transducer. LVDT is a type of inductive transducer. That means it is a passive transducer. LVDT is a passive inductive transducer. It is used to measure force, that may be weight, force or weight, pressure and acceleration, etc., which depends on force. Generally, LVDT is used to measure the force. Output is measured in terms of displacement of core. In LVDT, the output is measured in terms of the displacement of the core. See, this is the construction of LVDT. If you observe that there is a soft iron core, armature, movable armature, soft iron core, and it has primary winding and two secondary windings. P is the primary winding and two secondary windings S1 and S2 with equal number of turns ratio. S1 and S2 has equal number of turns, and there will be a primary winding. See, this is the detailed structure of LVDT. Coil 1, coil 2 secondary, coil 1 secondary, and this is the primary coil P, and secondary coil 1 and secondary coil 2. This is the outer insulating form, and this is a movable core. This core will be moved, motion to be indicated or controlled. It will be moved either to left or right side, and the output is the difference between the two secondary coils. The output is between the coil S2 and S1, difference output voltages. And for primary is excited with the AC supply signal. This is the construction of linear variable differential transformer. AC input, primary is connected to the AC input, and these two are the secondary windings S1 and S2 with equal turns ratio, and ES1 is the EMF induced in the S1 coil, secondary coil 1, and ES2 is the EMF induced in the secondary coil 2. This is the core, soft iron core, and this is the arm displacement. Construction of the LVDT. It consists of one primary winding and two secondary windings S1 and S2, and there are these are wound on a hollow cylindrical form. Generally, these are wounded on a hollow cylindrical form. Secondary windings have equal number of turns. S1 and S2 have equal number of turns, and they are placed on either side of the primary winding. See, these two secondary windings are placed either side of this primary winding. That means in between these two secondary windings, primary winding will be placed. Now we will see the working principle of LVDT. See, the EMF produced in secondary winding S1 is ES1, and that S2 is ES2. The EMF, there are two secondary coils S1 and S2. The EMF induced in S1 and S2 is called ES1. EMF induced in secondary coil 1, EMF induced in the secondary coil 2. The magnitude of this EMF depends on the magnitude of rate of change of flux. We know the Faraday's laws. The magnitude, the EMF induced in a coil is depends on the magnitude of rate of change of flux, d pi by d psi by dt. That means the EMF induced in ES1 and ES2 depends on the rate of change of flux. If the lower the value of dt, the rate of this dt is lower, the more will be the EMF induced. EMF is indirectly inversely proportional to the dt. That means lower the value of dt means the EMF induced will be high. But lower value of dt means that core is moving faster. The core movement is more means the dt value is less. That means the induced value is EMF induced is more. See, now in the first case, the primary winding P is energized from the AC source. When the movable core is in central position, the armature, the movable core is in center position. That means if it is in the center position, the induced EMFs in the secondary windings S1 and S2 are equal and opposite in polarity. The two windings are placed such that S1 and S2 has equal number of turns, but those are placed in out of phase. That is the reason the EMF, if the core is placed in the center position, the EMF induced in the coil 1 and coil 2 of secondary windings are equal magnitude. The magnitude is same, but those are in the opposite polarity. The polarity is reverse. That means magnitude is same but the polarity is opposite, means the output voltage will be 0. The output voltage E0 is equals to ES1 minus ES2. Here ES1 is equals to 0, ES1 and ES2 both are same. That means the output is 0. This position of soft iron core is called null position. That means if the soft iron core is in the central position, in that position the output is 0. E0 is equals to 0. Why it is 0 means the induced EMFs in both the windings are equal but are in opposite direction. E0 equals to ES1 minus ES2. So it is equal to 0. This position is called, the center position of a movable core is called null position. It is called null position. This is one case. In the next case, if the core is moved left to the null position. See here, suppose if this is the null position, this O is indicating the null position. The core is moved towards to the left to the null position. This is the null position. If the core is it left to the null position. If this core is left to the null position, the EMF induced in the coil 1 is more compared to the EMF induced in the coil 2. That means ES1 is greater than the ES2. Greater than the ES2 because the core is the EMF induced in this coil is more compared to the EMF induced in this secondary coil 2. ES1 is greater than ES2. That means E0, we know that E0 equals to ES1 minus ES2. ES1 is greater than ES2 means we will get the positive output voltage. Positive output voltage. That means that E0 will be in phase with the primary voltage. E0 will be in phase with the primary voltage. Whenever the AC signal is applied to this primary winding, there will be a induced EMF in the secondary coils S1 and S2 depending on the movement placement of this armature core, soft iron core. If it is at the center, if this core is center of this two secondary coils, the ES1 is equals to ES2, the output is 0. That position is called null position. Null position. If this movable core is to left to the null position, the induced EMF in the coil 1 is greater than the induced EMF in the coil 2. That means ES1 is greater than the ES2. That means output is positive. Positive. In the second case, the core is moved right to the null position. If this core is moved right to the null position, that means this side. That in this case, The EMF induced in the secondary coil 2 is greater than the EMF induced in the secondary coil 1. That means that is ES2 is greater than ES1. ES2 is greater than ES1, and we know that the output voltage E0 is equals to ES1 minus ES2. But here ES2 is greater means the output is in the negative form. This output is in negative form indicates that the output voltage of LVDT will be in out of phase. It is in the out of phase with the primary voltage. Primary voltage. Output voltage of LVDT will be in phase opposition with the primary voltage. This is the case when the core is moved right to the null position. Core is moved to the right to the null position. This is the working principle of the LVDT. Based on the movement placement of the core, soft iron core, the output will be varying. If the core is center of the center position, output is 0. If core is left to the null position, output is positive. If core is right to the null position, the core output is negative. See, this is the waveform for output voltage versus displacement. Phase of coil 2 and phase of coil 1. Core at 0, output is 0. Output is 0. If core of A, core is at towards left, that means this is the output voltage of coil 1 and this is the output voltage of coil 2. What are the observations we observed in this LVDT means? The output voltage is a linear function of the core displacement. Output voltage is a linear function of the displacement. That means V0, E0 is a linear function of the displacement of the core. The magnitude of output voltage is a function of distance moved by the core. It is a linear function and the magnitude of this output voltage is a function of distance moved by the core. Whether it is positive or negative, that is depending on the distance of function of distance moved by the core, and its polarity indicates the direction of movement. The polarity, whether the E0 is positive or negative, this polarity indicates the direction of movement. That means whether it is moving to left or to right to the null position. If it is to left to the null position means the output is positive. If it is right to the null position means the output is negative. And this polarity indicates the direction of movement. And core is attached to a moving object. This core is attached to a moving object, whatever we need to. That means for this core, whatever we need to measure, that is attached. The magnitude of output voltage gives the position of the object. And what are the advantages of LVDT? Advantages of LVDT means linear relation between the difference output voltage and linear displacement from null position for displacement up to 4 mm. The relation between the output is output voltage and linear displacement from null position for displacement up to 4 mm. Resolution is high, it is of 10 power minus 3 mm or better. High resolution. High sensitivity of 40 volts per mm or better. The sensitivity is also high resolution, high sensitivity. And another advantage is small in size, lightweight, easy to align and rugged. What are the other feature advantages? Small in size, lightweight, easy to align and rugged. Low hysteresis and hence easy repeatability. Hysteresis loss is less, and that means easy repeatability. High output and less friction. Power consumption is less. These are the advantages of LVDT. What are the advantages? There is a linear relationship between the difference output voltage and linear displacement. That means output is linearly varying with the displacement. Resolution is high, sensitivity is high, size is small, weight lightweight, easy to align, low hysteresis, high output and less friction, and the power consumption is low. These all are the advantages of LVDT. And what are the disadvantages of it? What are the disadvantages means? Sensitivity to stray magnetic field, hence shielding is required. It is very sensitive to stray magnetic field. Performance occasionally affected by vibrations. Performance is that means it affects by the vibrations. Output unit is required to operate on AC signal. For DC output, a demodulator is needed. Low power output. Performance is temperature sensitive. Sensitiveness is more. It is sensitive to stray magnetic field as well as the temperature variations. Sorry. And what are the applications of LVDT? LVDTs are used for in accelerometers, jet engine controls in close proximity to exhaust gases, measurement of roll position, and the measurement of material thickness in hot strip and slab steel mills. It is also used for material thickness in hot strip and slab steel mills. Measurement of low frequency vibrations. Measurement of long duration shock motions also. It is also used for measurement of long duration shock motions. And now we will go to the summary of this session. We discussed in this session principle of inductive transducer, construction and working principle of inductive transducer, the construction and working of LVDT, advantages and disadvantages of LVDT, applications of LVDT. These all are we discussed in this session. Okay, we will have some small questions, few questions. See, the first question here is LVDT is dash type displacement transducer. It is a type dash type displacement transducer. Option A, optical type displacement transducer. Option B, inductive. Option C, capacitive. And option D is resistive. So what is the question? LVDT is dash type displacement transducer. So LVDT, what is the answer here? It is a inductive type displacement transducer. We know that LVDT is a passive inductive transducer. Right? Then the next question, LVDT converts dash into dash. It is LVDT, it is a type of transducer. It converts one form of signal into another form. So what is the input and what is the output form? Option A is linear motion, electrical signal. Option B, electrical signal into linear motion. Option C, electrical signal into optical signal. Option D, optical signal to electrical signal. So, what is the answer? LVDT converts linear motion into electrical signal. Linear motion into electrical signals. This is about, that means LVDT is converting linear motion into electrical signals. The third question is, LVDT has usually two secondaries. We know that LVDT has two secondaries and these two secondaries are connected in dash. Options. Option A, series addition. Option B, series opposition. Option C, parallel addition. Option D, parallel opposition. See, LVDT has one primary winding and two secondary windings. So how these two secondaries are connected? What is the answer? Either in series addition, series opposition, parallel addition or parallel opposition. These two are connected in series but in opposite way. That means the option is series opposition. Next question. One of the following transducers is used for very small linear displacement measurement. One of the following transducer is used for very small linear displacement measurement. Option A, LVDT. Option B, strain gauge. Option C, thermocouple. Option D, capacitive transducer. So what is the answer? For very small linear displacement measures, which transducer is used means option is LVDT. LVDT, right? And what are the questions we can expect from these two? Today's topic means in today's topic we explained about the discussed about the inductive transducers and single coil and dual coil type, two coil and single coil. In that, based on the air gap, the reluctance is varying directly in proportion to the air gap. The air gap is increasing means reluctance is increasing. We know the relationship between the inductance and the reluctance. These two are inversely proportional. Means based on this principle, the inductance of the coil is varying. See, so what are the questions we can expect from this means? Explain the working principle of the inductive transducer. Describe the construction and working of inductive transducer. In long answers, we can expect these questions. Working principle of inductive transducer are sometimes the construction and working of inductive transducers. And in short answers, we can expect the questions: what are the advantages of inductive transducer, and what are the disadvantages of inductive transducers, and also the applications of inductive transducers. All these questions we can expect in the short answers. And from the LVDT, what is LVDT, and explain the working principle of LVDT. In long answers we can expect. And with the help of neat figure, explain the construction and working of LVDT. In this also we can expect in the long answers, and sometimes in the short answers write the relationship between displacement and output voltage versus displacement, that graphical form. And in short answers, list the advantages of LVDT, list the disadvantages of LVDT, and also the applications of LVDT. Right? These are the questions we can expect from this LVDT topic. See, in the LVDT, mainly it has one primary winding and two secondary windings. Here there will be a movable core. That core will be moved based on the displacement or the applied force on it. That any whatever the parameter we need to measure, that is connected to this movable core. Here there are two secondary windings in this LVDT. These two secondary windings have equal turns ratio, and these are connected in series form, but in opposite direction. The output is across these two secondary windings. The T naught is equals to ES1 minus ES2. What is ES1 and what is ES2 means? Induced EMF in the secondary coil 1 and induced EMF in the secondary coil 2. This output is in this LVDT, the output is directly proportional to the change in the displacement. Linear, and the output variation is linearly with the linearity with the linear variations in the displacement. Right. If this core is moving towards to left means from the null position means the output will be positive, and if the core is moving to right to null position means the output is negative. Output is negative. If the core is placed in the center position means, in this case that means the output it is center position means the induced EMF in ES1 and ES2 are equal, but we know that these two are connected in opposite way. That means the output E naught is equals to 0 when the core is placed in the center of the, and that means at null position. That position is called null position. This is about the LVDT. Right. So with this. Okay, with this, I'm going to end my session, today's session. And totally, till now we discussed about the transducers and the passive transducers. That is, passive transducers means resistive transducers, inductive transducers, and capacitive transducers. All we discussed in today's session up to till now. With this, I'm going to end my session. Okay, thank you. Okay.